My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Alrighty, it is currently, as you are aware, it's obviously the fake sun is out and engineer light is present because the severely mentally ill Kelly Blacken is out looking for a means to be in my path, stalking as a closeted homosexual woman that is obsessed with me and is stalking with C-Max, who's creating light activity under the fake that's over her at work yesterday after 3 p.m. where, again, you have the entity that's hovering over this senior citizen complex while I'm standing at this same entrance, the entrance where she is not ignorant about my presence. She is indeed an obsessed stalker. All right, she's a psychopath, and she's also inside of the building of the OVITT Family Community Library stalking. More confirmation stalker. She's a demon, and she represents the entity with the same knowledge regarding surveillance. Following me, the engineer light that's on the ceiling on the inside of this parking garage. The absurdity, the asininity of this environment where the entities engage in this conduct as a municipality, every business, every household that are engaging in fully exposed surveillance, and then the entity upon exposure engages in more of it. Exhibit A, Southwest Airlines is engaging in the same exact thing. What I'm documenting, 12:57 in the afternoon on Sunday, where under all circumstances Kelly Blacken is subject to federal prison. Okay, the entities, and so are the demons stalking in planes and helicopters. But this is the prosecution of Family Community Library, which is the prosecution of the people of the state of California. Crossing path, driving at impossible light. 8 YIB 409, and let me show you the light that they're driving through that did not disappear while they drove through it. Okay, and that's because of the trajectory of the light, but it is under no circumstances sunlight while it's sitting in the shade. And here's my shadow over here, and this isn't even the sun. It's still over the same entrance at 3, where that airport that has no terminals and no takeoffs are hovering here while Kelly is stalking, licensed with a population, okay, who go in sharing in surveillance. 7HZD240, very mentally ill vagina monitors, 9MHT331. Okay, the entities engage in this, and this is the psycho, City of Ontario. They were stalking in the downtown Ontario luxury apartments with light activity. I documented the same African-American male looking stupid. Okay, and his partner was hiding while I was taking pictures. 6DET065. This is the same entrance where the Ontario International Airport is on images doing a cartwheel over this apartment building while I'm at the Chevron, where Belbeer is subject to deportation while their unintelligent co-defendants expose that they're gang stalking. This is the P.O.C. A psychopath is relevant to being committed, not any innocence, while you're gang stalking like Kelly Blacken is and not addressing and acting like nothing is happening. It's a very poor act because the fake sun speaks volumes about mental instability, about criminal activity. This is the entity that's engaged in what is noise creation, and she is engaged in psychopathic pacing all around me, which is terrorizing, it's harassing, and it's also very disturbing. This is where the airport is targeting in concert with all the demons sharing in that psychopathic pattern of conduct. In fact, you see the City of Ontario engage in the same positioning while this impossible light activity is behind the vehicle at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where they're engaging in the same poor stage regarding what is that pattern of conduct, where the sun would never be present over the same entrance of the OVITT, like I'm documenting, from 9 a.m. until after 3 p.m. But this is where you have that conclusive, even scientifically confirmed pattern of conduct, which is the entity that is conspiring, murder, gang stalking together. This is exactly where the entity is engaging in what is kidnapping. Under these circumstances, with this malicious entity, malice does not speak to or establish intelligence. Clearly, they're unintelligent. Okay, so this is a demon that's pacing. This is exactly what the demons are doing yesterday while the airport hovers over, and they're doing so while tracking my steps on the inside of a building. Kelly is a psychopath, and she's pacing around an engineer light just like you see out here. She has multiple shadows on the inside, which is not explained away by artificial light. They're engaged in vagina monitoring inside and outside, comprehensive surveillance, and the sex offender that is gang stalking is being removed from office. That is Paul Leon, having psychopaths who are demons engaged in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. That is not the conduct and the appropriate, legitimate business of a mayor. He is not a mayor. Paul Leon is a domestic terrorist. Okay, he's an enemy of this country, targeting American citizens, which is exactly what I represent. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:06 a.m. The entity has the fake sun remaining over me while I sit at the bus stop. But yet, as I come earlier, here it is over at the town square. And when I'm on the opposite side of the property, sitting at the wall, you have the hefty boy that likes to admit to hitting girls and is a psychopath sitting in this venue, sparkling with light while stalking in my peripheral. He's gang stalking with the rest of them at the square. And this fake sun is on the opposite side of this clock. And then I come here at 10 o'clock and it remains here. And then you see it after 3 p.m. like I documented yesterday. This is where the entity is engaged in that pattern of conduct. This is a stalker, 9EAZ955. The entity is surrounded with insurmountable evidence, and even science is serving to remove Paul Leon from office, to put Mike Lorenz in prison, to prosecute every kidnapper, and that includes the people of the state. This is P.O.C. While you're gang stalking and you engage in criminal summoning, people like Kelly Blacken are going to prison. That's the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. And the demon-possessed pilots are going to prison, and they're going to be committed. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down. This is the OVITT Family Community Library at 9:07 a.m. P.O.C. All right, this is documentation of specific harassment, and Starla Villalba is a psychopath. And as I start recording, she's monitoring coming out of the infamous administration door. This is documentation of harassment. Do you mind if I get some more time?
Oh, I got it.
No, I think it might turn on. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
I'll put a number 8, not 5. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm number 5.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
All right. If you're listening to remember it's audible activities, so you're talking about disingenuity, you're talking about fabrication, just lying, just making noise, in other words, because they're monitoring. That's the actual criminal purpose. So you are getting to the substance of everything that is ongoing, and also you're getting to what is the purpose of stating that you put time on the wrong, incorrect computer, as though you don't know what computer. They're focusing the activity around where I'm located. They're keeping my genitalia under surveillance. They are stalking with impossible light where I am located inside of the building. They're keeping a fake sun over the entrance where I'm showing her co-defendant, also her co-worker, Kelly Blacken, who was gang stalking me even before she starts the shift at 10 a.m. She might have started her shift before 10 a.m., but before the library doors open, you're already gang stalking me. You know where I'm at, outside of the library. You know exactly what computer I'm on. They're engaging in surveillance on that desktop, so that's disingenuous what she's stating. She also knows that they're monitoring spirits. So when I am inside and I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting ready to record this means of harassment. So she would have let my computer time out and create an inconvenience. I have to relocate, or I have to be more subject to them documenting me. Oh, can you reserve me in a computer? And then they reserve a computer, and then I have to go and I have to clean down everything because these are filthy demons. I don't touch anything before I disinfect it. But nonetheless, it's just a means of making things difficult for me, wasting time, harassing. It's another means of targeting, and it's activity creation. That's the bottom line. My point is that nothing is accidental. You're not mistaken. You're not coincidentally engaging in anything. You're not ignorantly. They're walking in here to engage in surveillance, and it's pathetic. Okay, the entity is engaging in this, and this is Starla, whose license plate is also exposed with regard to her gang stalking me very intentionally with the Ontario Police Department. Engaging what is molestation with engineered light. There's no accident with regard to the nature of that light. It's engineered light. I mean, this is patently absurd. So this is breaking down, and this is the implosion of gang stalking altogether, and the ridiculousness that you're aware of now when the entity engages in this system against ordinary American citizens that don't have the body of evidence that is the P.O.C. Okay, so you're talking, they don't have a defense, and you will be committed with the same malicious audible activity, the malicious means of stalking flight. You're going to find yourself committed, and it's already a federal case, and all you're doing is getting on minor, annoying the federal prosecutor. It's very imprudent. So the entity's engaged in this conduct, and they're doing so while they're still obsessed with me, and you're already prosecuted. So I did want to record that. I'm still going to go ahead and publish it. This is just the entity that's engaging. The pettiness, okay? But that pettiness is also a serial killer. So it's nothing that you're going to overlook. A petty population is gang stalking and furtherance of murder. So it is very serious, okay? You are very much envious of the way that my lashes curl, and envious of the tone of my skin color, and at the same time you want to call me a nigger, but you're stalking me, and then you're mad because I'm documenting the fact that you're stalking and that I have the ability to prove, and it's not going to be written off as a conspiracy theory. You even worship as I am prosecuting you. These are demons. They're mentally ill. Okay, so this is the entity that is engaging in what is harassment, and while I'm asking you, which is your job is not to be gang stalking. You are simultaneously engaging in that. I will be prosecuting you at work. That's the bottom line. But the entity's engaging in what is your job. I'm asking for more time. Oh, sure, I'll give you more time. And then I'm remaining on the computer, and I'm not getting any more time. And so the significance of this is I'm speaking to those that are listening to me give you an ongoing narration of what is the relevant facts with regard to how is the entity targeting, how is the entity harassing. And largely it's all very petty, but this is relevant to prosecution. So with regard to the federal case, it's putting it into context, and when you have a population of petty people, you have what is terrorism. So, and it's not so petty. In the aggregate, you're understanding what is the significance of sitting around sparking with light in the peripheral. It's psychotic. there's something wrong with you in your mind, I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to sit right on the side where the target individual can see me but not quite see me, and I'm just going to sit there and flicker light. I'm just going to, every time she's done, I'm just going to, that's a demon and that's a psychopath. That's also somebody that's an admitted sex offender because they're keeping your genitalia under surveillance as well, and that's also a state actor. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging in this conduct, and that sick mind is engaging in what is stalking you and is fully engaged in what is focusing on you. And so when you're on the computers inside of the OVIT, you get a default 2 hours, and then the entity is engaging in what is lapsing the 2 hours. After the 2 hours is up, the computer will turn off if you don't request more time. You do have the opportunity to request more time. And so that's what I'm doing. And so after I request that, I don't get any more time, and then I'm seeing nobody's behind there, so this is okay. So this would create, I'm documenting on using the computer to publish my evidence. That's also relevant to harassment. I'll just, I'll walk away and not give you your time or whatever. Very petty, okay? When all you're doing is gang stalking. I'm the focus of what everybody is doing in here, literally, and that's not a compliment. I'm not saying that because it's pathetic. Okay? These are people, this is an entity, this system serves to murder people. It's not a compliment. They're all focusing on you because they're trying to get away with killing you. And as I've shown the P.O.C, it is an outright failure that you would ever even speak to the un-American citizen's mental state, mental illness, address it, outside of addressing the mentally ill who are gang stalking. All right? This is the absurdity of that. But this is showing what the government is doing when they're targeting American citizens, okay, and abusing a system where mental health is absolutely relevant here, and it's the mental health of the demon-possessed gang stalker. Okay, the entity's engaging in what is this pattern of conduct and harassing on the computer and coming out just before the computer times out, coming out just as I start pressing record, aware of the fact that I'm going to document. You can let my computer lapse out if you want to. I'm going to document that. You're already prosecuted, okay? And you are acting with every other fool that's in here pacing around. And this is how the entity is self-destructing. When they're engaged in gang stalking, any and everything that they're doing is affecting everybody else. All right, and so the entity's engaging in this, and I just wanted to document this iteration of what is harassment targeting, even my having to get up and wait for her to come out, pausing. I don't want to think about these demons. These demons are obsessed with me. They're stalking me in the spirit, and they're physically stalking, which I'm proving through tangible evidence. That's in and of itself is relevant to the entity that's engaging what is targeting me. Just give me my time and leave me alone, but of course they're not going to do that. They're engaging in a pattern of conduct. All right, so this is relevant to that P.O.C. I'm going to go ahead and remind you about what is Miss Starla Villalba's license plate. And her license plate was documented on the night that the Ontario police are gang stalking me in the same parking lot of this venue where everybody's inside, pacing around in engineer light. The fake sun, like I captured this morning at 9, is still over the same entrance. It's 1:45 p.m. And the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct with the intent to not only commit murder, but to obstruct justice. And you're going to prosecute for the criminal purposes with which an entity is targeting someone, even though none of that is going to be accomplished. You're going to prison because of your failure in trying to sacrifice me. And this is going to establish what is precedent in order to enforce any American citizen's rights, constitutional and human, in the United States. And it is also informing what's going on in the rest of the world. Those of you who are outside of the U.S., don't be ignorant, in other words, about the devices of the enemy. This is just within the context of the United States, where we do have documents such as the Constitution, and the government is in violation of that. There is no legitimate interest for the entity that is the government, to engage in surveillance. Right? And in order to engage in this surveillance, remember, it's demonic. The government is monitoring. This is speaking to what is disturbing, and it's not a scary movie. In fact, scary movies that you go watch and you pay money for are informed by what the U.S. government is actually doing. And it is criminal monitoring, and you are monitoring the person that you are stalking. And the government is monitoring through a population who are also demons, engaging in what is outright maintenance of an illusion regarding the document itself, the Constitution, state and federal. These aren't private citizens. They're stalking with the state. They're exploiting this document, the Constitution, and it is equally effective. It's very real. I'm enforcing my rights under it, but you're showing the illusion that this entity has engaged in what is maintaining to conceal, and that ongoing illusion has been entirely dismantled in order to prosecute a corrupt government system. And then you're seeing all the ways in which that corrupt government system, even down to the pettiness with regard to what is absurdly psychotic stalking inside of a building, which is what is proven even as a matter of science. NASA themselves would be force compelled to be an expert witness and confirm my evidence that the sun is under no circumstances going to be over the same entrance. Everything that NASA knows about the sun, that gaseous ball of fire, that star that is not an idle object that hovers down beside buildings and ricochets light like a laser and shoots into the depths and causes your shadow. But this ridiculousness that is the P.O.C, where these demons are stalking. Okay, you know exactly what computer that I'm sitting on, and it's a petty means of harassing me, and that's an ongoing threat. Remember, it's relevant to psychological torture. It's not petty to the ordinary target individual that's being chased down and stalked by the police, by the demons driving ambulances and stalking in planes and helicopters, and being stalked by a bunch of demons who are stalking with light, and then they all sit in the library like that didn't just happen. You're going to be prosecuted and committed with this. All right, it's currently 1:47 p.m. It is January 27, 2026. This is P.O.C. All right, Starla Villalba engaging in what is harassment as a third party. Well, actually, she's a state actor as an employee of the OVITT Family Community Library and OVITT Family Community Library itself, which is the city of Ontario. So everything that the entity is speaking, they are speaking as one. This is the government that's filling the library as a third party. This is the government that's filling the library as employees. All right, in the same way, it's the government that's surrounding me while I'm inside of the building. It's the government that goes into the bathroom. This is the government that, again, surmise that would never be known. But nonetheless, this is the entity that is gang stalking in license plate 9 Sam Edward Jerry 254. This is Starla Villalba, and she's gang stalking like you can listen to on video Kelly Blacken, this psychopath that engages in what is pacing, and she likes pacing as a monitoring spirit. As I document her, and even as I recall, even chuckling to myself, the way in which Satan is embarrassing her, this demon begins pacing in real time. That's speaking to knowledge, consciousness about what is relevant here. I can't prosecute you as a demon-possessed person. That's not actionable, but I can prosecute you for psychopathic pacing and engineer light, which is accomplishing surveillance on devices, which the government doesn't have any warrant or probable cause to maintain. And there is no legitimate interest for the government to do so with the people of the state, like Kelly Blacken is doing at the OVITT Family Community Library. I can prosecute you for that. And the entity is engaging in this pursuant to knowledge because she is demon-possessed. All right, and that demon provokes her, and that demon is going to have her placed in a cell where she will be subject to 23-hour lockdown, and that's just the reality of the mentally ill who are gang stalking. And she's doing so with her co-defendant, Starla Villalba, and that's a license plate. Just to give you an example, these are all the employees that are gang stalking. Relevant evidence is that this entity engaged in kidnapping. They committed kidnapping against me while they're gang stalking and then making malicious assertions. And I will be very clear, no child molester has any business and is not going to successfully create what is the body of evidence that is scientifically relevant and applicable for any person, any community, anywhere in the world regarding understanding what Satan is doing and also enforcing your rights, even if you don't have a U.S. Constitution, okay? To not be ignorant about what the government is doing through the people of the state. A monitoring spirit, people who are gang stalking, people who are monitoring you, you're able to identify that regardless of whether you have a constitution or not. It's better to be informed so that you're not ignorant, so that you know what you're letting into your home, what you're letting into your community, what you're permitting around your children, what's surrounding you in the environment in plain sight. Okay, so it's not merely about being in the U.S. and being protected by a constitution that is essentially used as something to wipe up fecal matter, where the government is violating that constitution and literally the fabric of this country. But this is why we do not put our faith in men. Right? This is what scripture informs, rather, because you will be disappointed. All right? So the reality is that the employees at this venue are sharing in a criminal system, and they are demon-possessed. And that's why when I am even thinking of how psychotic Kelly Blacken is, she simultaneously is walking by. Remember, it's not just walking by. It's not innocent or coincidental. She's doing so while she's got 4 shadows. She's doing so in the building where she works, where the fake sun remains. As a matter of documentation today, 9 a.m., and as I showed you yesterday, 3 o'clock, and that's just those 2 days. The documentation shows from sunrise till sunset at this venue. These are demons that are monitoring, indeed. And it's proven with tangible evidence, and you will be prosecuted for it. It just happens to be for the glory of God that they are criminals engaging in federal stalking and furtherance of murder, and that they're demon-possessed monitoring spirits that are going to be put away where they belong. because they are a threat to the public. Okay, it's P.O.C. It's currently 1:52 p.m. This is the entity that's engaging in what is targeting. Targeting is not necessarily something that's some grand heist and stealing, and breaking into, a museum and, or it's, some high security establishment that you own in order to, overwhelm your security and steal your it's as petty as not giving more time on a computer just because you want to harass me, because you're mad because I'm documenting. You're mad because I am discerning your demons. You're mad because I'm prosecuting you in a manner that you never fathomed. It's all criminal, though. You don't even have a right to be at work. This is the reality, the implications of state surveillance. You don't have a right, contrary to what you've realized while you're pacing around, admitting on an ongoing ceaseless basis that you're engaged in stalking. All right, so the entity, it's taking on a context, and it is indeed stalking. It's stalking as an entity. It is gang stalking, and gang stalking is demonic. In fact, it's psychopathic, and it's also sexually perverted, sexually motivated. And what Satan is exceedingly petty, very petty, very sophomoric, juvenile tactics with regard to what is envy of a person that you're so jealous and envious that you'll conspire their murder. These are the works of the devil. Okay, and so it is criminal conduct that a government is engaging in, and it's very pathetic to think that the government has spent all this money, all this time, all these people on little old me. That's helping you put that into perspective. All right, but that's because we are more than what your circumstances may dictate. Satan may very well manipulate your life circumstances to make you think that you are less than you are. You're not your circumstances. And that goes even if you have $1 billion. That doesn't mean that you're more precious before the Lord God who created you. It goes both ways. But the entity is very much aware of what is a threat. I'm prosecuting in the physical, but I am speaking to what is going on in the spiritual, and that was supposed to stay a secret, and it's not. It absolutely is not, and so that poses a threat, and that is informing why the government would engage in what is a lifetime of targeting me. All right, it is currently 1:54 p.m. This is P.O.C.
Yeah, type in whatever you want to type.
4:37 p.m.
Do you have something downloaded, or
Yeah.
do you want to touch that now, or do you want to wait?
As soon as I can
Okay.
touch.
Back a second.
Okay, so attach this paper. Here.
Okay. And open. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, before I send it, probably want to send it to myself.
Well, you'll have it in your sent folder too. Once you send it. Did you click send?
I think so.
Okay.
The message has been
So
sent.
if you click here on your sent folder, it'll show you any emails you sent. So see, it just popped up, right? And it'll tell you the time. See, it has 4:58, 4:25, the date. Anything that you sent, it'll have
Wonderful.
this
So,
here.
yeah, that's great.
Okay?
Now this one is telling me to silence.
This is presence in the path under the guise of, oh, I need help. This is presence in the path amongst the sparking light. This is the evidence that's going to be used to diagnose.
You know that thing which is called scan thing? Scan information, the scan window, the scan
Like the
screen.
QR code, or what do you mean?
Yeah, this has a scan thing. And what do I do about this?
I need to see
I think
it.
it's called, what do you call it? Yeah, psychopathic. Microaggressive, antisocial, demonic.
If you find it, essentially what you
Click
do.
here to register.
Malicious.
Yeah,
It's also relevant to RICO charges.
It's basically looks like
Federal
some
RICO
kind of
charges.
webinar. Oh, it's in progress right now. It's happening right now.
It's relevant to what is the greater issue of public corruption
Register if you want to.
amongst the mentally ill.
Well, yeah, it's happening right now. I don't know how long it is, but so you can see the session will cover the basics.
Specifically, we're getting to a pattern of harassment. We have a fascination,
But it's gonna almost
gratification,
but also they might
we're satiated by
later when it's over if they say.
these microaggressive methods of targeting.
Okay. I think I'm fully registered.
Oh, if you're already registered, then if you're already registered, you don't need to register out here.
How do I go? Confirm registration.
You have to do everything. See where it has the red? You have to do everything.
Remember, any and everything that is heard is occurring in the engineered light. Everything.
Up to you if you want to.
So what are we really doing here other than accumulating what is a record to be diagnosed by legitimate medical professionals and for conviction by a federal court?
You have to fill out everything that has a red asterisk in order to be able to go in, okay? So if you want to do it, you can.
Alrighty, this is still at it's 4:41 p.m. So I am seated where the entity is concentrating impossible light activity, and that is where the entity is keeping what is the light source, which you see over this code defendant in the background, engaging what is gang stalking under the guise of what is very incriminating. You're at the job engaging in the elements monitoring under the guise of helping a gang stalker that is engaging in terrorism with the state, literally sparking with light, doing so while monitoring the documentation on the internet. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's very serious and unfortunate what's going to happen to terrorists who no one is going to feel sorry for. But the entity is engaging in this with regard to what is malice. That's what you're witnessing, malice. Okay? The mentally ill who are malicious are not intelligent. Okay? They're merely conniving. That does not require an exceptional bar of intelligence at all. If that were the case, we would not have a fake sun over the same entrance where everybody is clearly walking into the crime scene blatantly. All right. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. with regard to the same offenders, sparking with light. You're looking at the totality, not just this right now. It's 4:42 p.m. The image that I take of the demon, the Sparky, that's sitting at the table, coming to reoffend again. That's noted by all of the federal government. Coming again to reoffend, doing so in furtherance of murder. This is no ordinary conduct that's merely annoying. You're coming in to participate again and help the government in the conspiracy to murder, and then you're doing so while you are targeting with an employee who was, by the way, 12:14 p.m. criminal summoning, where the entity has the fix on over her co-defendant at 9 o'clock in the morning. During daylight savings time, that would be 10 a.m. Achilles in the vixen, and then you have 12:14 p.m., which would be 2 hours over the same building, speaking to a stagnant, stationary, non-moving light source where the entity is maintaining an environment conducive to surveillance, where everybody's just walking in and out, maintaining presence, including by employment. Everything that you're talking about is nothing other than malicious guise for elements where people think that you are unaware or ignorant to demons. All right, so this is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is that very threatening. That's what I'll take your audacity as, a threat. Okay, so the entity is engaging in what is that ongoing conduct right in your face, conspicuously, with the entity that knows that it's being documented, gang stalking number 6, gang stalking at the adjacent table, while they're engaged in this conduct in front of the federal government and the world. All of you who are laughing at the demons that are being prosecuted, they're engaging in this while they are going to be, they're being diagnosed in real time. They're being diagnosed in real time. They're being prosecuted. And the federal government is very much aware of the criminal purposes for which the Ontario Police, the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Fire Department, the entity that is engaging with a surveillance all around and outside of this venue, which is surrounded with unprecedented level heights of insurmountable evidence. What fool, other than a demon, would come and participate in that? Someone that is clearly obsessed. Okay, this is indeed mentally ill behavior. Alrighty, it's currently 4:44 p.m. And that's the entity engaging in that P.O.C. with the gang stalking patrons, with the gang stalking employees, while I am in use of a device that is under surveillance, and all of my devices are under surveillance. And somebody sitting adjacent to me at the computers are not creating any earthquake. They're engaged in what is psychopath, microaggressive means of battering me, while they're hostile about who I am, number one, but also what it is that I'm doing online, which is prosecuting them. The entity's doing so while they're sparking light. This, with regard to the P.O.C, I will publish a video and remind you about what the same pattern of conduct, and this is again a different person, different face. In other words, different identification that the government's going to prosecute. Same demonic spirit. They are all infected with the same disease, and it is demon possession while they're sharing in a criminal pattern of conduct. It's 4:45 p.m. and this is P.O.C at OVITT Family Community Library, a gang stalking state actor. This is the government. P.O.C.